Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Man, another game where we control the majority of the play and another loss. The Leafs lose tonight again at home, losing both games at home. A huge turning point of the series. Um, and this is starting to not look good. The Leafs are controlling the play and they're still getting outworked. It's you can draw some parallels with the Tampa series where Tampa is again
Yeah,
outplaying the Leafs,
this
but
is how it feels to
exactly,
be a
yeah.
Tampa fan.
Now we're seeing the opposite side of it. It's just so unfortunate. Um, there was a lot of things that the Leafs did good, but just a couple minutes of bad play, and you're on the wrong foot. You just can't
Yeah,
bring it back, and you end up just blowing it, right?
yeah.
We'll
All it
talk
took was
about
2 minutes.
exactly. We'll talk about that first period. We'll talk about how what happened in that collapse in the second period. We'll talk about how they tried to bring it back into the third. But before we do that, let's hear a message from our sponsors, Sports Interaction.
Get in on the action and make your bet with Sports Interaction. Every hit, every shot, every goal from all your favorite teams and players, with competitive odds, the best in live and play, and more ways than ever to get into the game. Like Minute Madness, our exclusive game with so many opportunities to win by the minute. So download the app using the QR code below if you're in Ontario, or you can head over to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN to get started. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. And please remember that it's 19 plus and to play responsibly. All right.
Yeah, let's start off with that first period, right? Because the Leafs did a lot of good things. We had a couple changes in the lineup, a little shuffling around. After that first game, we saw Lafferty being inputted back into the lineup, Bunton going back up into the top pairing, and I think that really worked out well. Like, I mean, we saw the first real chance that the Leafs had was off of Bunton being a pest and being just Bunton, right? He had a
Yeah.
great play where him with Matthews and Marner, they were able to get an opportunity in within like the first minute, and it was all off of Bunton just forechecking hard and getting into the puck fast, right?
Yeah.
Even that first goal, that was again another great forechecking, and the Leafs just playing hard and coming and showing up at the first minute, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
They started
Yeah.
fantastic. I
And I thought the insertion of Lafferty was a good move personally. Like
mhm,
I have nothing against Star, but adding Lafferty in just gives you a little bit of pace and speed to the game. And yeah,
exactly.
they started off about as good as you can get. They strike first. I don't know what. Do you know what the time was at the
Yeah, it
time
was
they?
it was like 2 minutes and, I believe 2 minutes, 20 seconds. It was a Kerfoot
Yeah.
goal, a guy who we've been very critical of in the past, right? He makes a great play. It was a shot from Shen from deep. Bobrovsky was able to make the initial save, but Kerfoot, he's able to get a whack at it and, gets it behind the net, right? You mentioned Lafferty being input into that play, right? And his speed aspect. That's kind of what Keith talked about as well when he was asked about why Lafferty was being put in. It was purely the speed, right? When you're playing against a team like the Panthers, they really shine on their offense, right? They're a fast team that dumps the puck and tries to get to it quick, which burns us on one of the goals that we'll talk about in that first period. But yeah, it starts off with Shen getting a stick on a Panther shot. Lafferty, like we mentioned, he was able to use his speed. In
Yeah.
transition, he's able to wrap it around to Shen, who dumps it back along the boards behind the Panthers net. And even though Kerf was boxed out, Camp was able to get control of the puck. And when it was eventually thrown out, Riley's there in an instant to get to it first. Throws it to Kerf, creates a chance, and it goes wide, bounce into Shen, and ultimately lead into that goal, right? They were strong in the forecheck. This whole play, this whole goal occurred because the Leafs were able to win their puck battles. They were able to be strong in the forecheck, and they were able to just outwork the Panthers early, right?
Yeah, and everyone was involved in that play, which was really nice to
Exactly.
see. Like we're gonna get to the Leafs collapse eventually, but let's start with the positives.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lafferty used his speed to kind of gain the zone, which was really
Mhm.
nice. Shen also did something that was interesting. When Riley like put it behind the net over around to Shen, he went around the net and went to the right side low and was tapping his stick for the pass, and Shen looked him off went for the shot. And his intuitions were correct because firstly the shot went through everyone, and Kampf was able to be a good enough of a net front presence to create enough chaos and let Kerfoot get that rebound and roof it pretty much. Yeah, it was just a really good start, and they kept on going from there. Really, the entire period they dominated it, and like it
Exactly.
sucks. It sucks. It sucks the result, but
It was tough.
yeah,
It was tough. But Kerf again on that second goal, right? That was Kerf drawing the penalty just 3 minutes after that first goal. Kerf was able to draw a tripping penalty,
yeah,
and this was really important to me specifically because we look back at game one and the Leafs, even though they were great on their power play, they were never able to capitalize on it. Right? It would
yeah,
never hit the back of the net, and that ultimately is kind of what cost us game one. So I was looking at this power play and I was like, hey, let's see if they can control again, but also can they capitalize on it, right? And
yeah.
lo and behold, they were, right? That penalty or that power play specifically, that was perfection.
It
Just
was yeah, it was
exactly the way
perfect.
that it was drawn up. Like they executed perfectly. Each shot that they got on it, they were able to get the rebound, pass it back out, and create another chance. And
Yeah.
eventually O'Reilly gets it and throws it back in the back of the net. The Leafs are up 2-0, and we're singing. We're on cloud nine at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean that was another it was another perfect play pretty much. Again, everyone was pretty much involved. Ryan O'Reilly makes a really good play because he was playing the like left side low position, and when he
Mhm.
puts it back to Marner, he kind of goes around. And it's just the off puck movement was really good. Marner QBing like resulted in like three chances back to back to back. We got the rebound. We were first to the puck every single time. Just really perfectly executed power play, and it finally converted. And you talking about how in the first game us not being able to convert on our chances led to us losing. It's sort of the same story here. And credit to the Panthers. We're gonna get to it, but credit to the Panthers for converting on literally everything they
After
ever
yeah,
like.
exactly. That's
We
kind of
hit
the reason
how many
why.
posts did we hit this game?
Yeah.
How many fucking
Nylander
posts did we
had
hit?
like
It was
3
brutal.
himself. It
It
was
was brutal.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about that, but even in this, let's keep it within that first period, right? Even the first Panthers goal, right? Lundell scoring with I believe it was like around 9 minutes left, right?
Yeah.
That's a goal that I look at, and initially I thought, hey, it was a gimme. Tavares blew a skate, right? So what happened in this play? There was a defensive zone draw. The Panthers dumped the puck, right? They dump it, and although Liljegren was able to get to it first, he gets a hard hit along the boards. He drops the puck back to Tavares, and Tavares blows a skate behind the Leafs net, right?
Yeah.
This gives Sam Reinhart all the space in the world to pass it in front of Lundell, who again, with a ton of space, a ton of time, it's an easy shot, right? You can't blame Sammy on something like that. And I look at that and I'm like, hey, it's unfortunate Tavares blows a skate. Like, realistically, was that if Tavares was able to keep his man, was that going to become a high scoring chance? Probably not, right?
Probably not, no. But to me that's like a threefold error. I think that could have been stopped, or that chance could have been, taken away if Liljegren brings it around a little harder. Like I
Yep.
thought he didn't really have a man to go to. Tavares was never gonna get there, even if he didn't fall down. Like Reinhardt was ahead of him. So there was a little bit of a composure issue there. Tavares blows a skate, which is gonna happen. But I also
Yeah,
thought like I don't want to blame Sammy here, but he needs to track that puck better when it's behind him. Yeah, I know that's a difficult thing,
it's
and
very
Reinhardt
difficult.
Reinhardt executed that perfectly as well.
Mhm.
Like this is what we're talking about when it comes to like Panthers execution of converting. Like yeah, like it was just a really really well done pass, and
Yeah,
at the perfect moment where Sammy doesn't see it at all.
I
He
think
and yeah, I don't
I
know.
think it was hard because he you can't really expect Tavares to go down. One person I do want to point out. So when I watched the replay, I got a little annoyed because I want to highlight Gio on it. If you actually look at the play, he's kind of caught puck watching. He
Yeah,
loses track of Lundell, who cuts in on the inside of him, and by the time Gio actually notices, Lundell's already in position for the pass. Right? I again, this is another moment where Gio he's not the fastest guy, but he has to use his awareness and just a higher hockey IQ to kind of supplement that, right? We look at a guy like Shen, who's also not the fastest guy, but he's able to slow down the play to his style of play, right?
His pace, yeah.
Exactly. And that's purely from experience, from hockey IQ and just from being smart and understanding his weakness and his speed, right? Just being totally there. Gio really
He's had a tough
disappointed in that
playoffs.
play. Yeah,
He's had a tough
especially
playoffs
this
in
round.
general.
Yeah.
And it's tough because, you know, looking back at it during the season, he played a lot of games
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he didn't need to.
And how old is he
He
again?
really didn't need to. He's like 39. Like he's
Exactly.
too
He's an
old to be
old
playing
man.
that many games. In hindsight, I think some rest would have done him some good.
Yeah.
Coming into the second round. Um, yeah, he's just been rough. I wonder if they're gonna stick Hall in or something like that, or put Gustafsson or Timmins or something. I like probably not, but like I wonder if they're gonna make a move on defense. Just because I do think his speed specifically against Florida is very easy to expose. He hasn't looked the best. He's bobbled some pucks as well. In the third period when we had a chance, he bobbled the puck in the defensive zone, and that
Yeah.
led to pressure. It sucks because he's been such a good player for us throughout the season. Like, I don't think anyone really expected Gio to be a problem ever. So like it's hard to be like, like
Yeah.
bad lineup decision, but he's been an issue. He's been an issue.
I kind of understood why he didn't work so well against Tampa. I understand why he's not working so well in this series, specifically with the Panthers, because the Panthers are a high paced, high octane team that's just trying to run laps around you, right? Which again
Yeah.
is not Gio's strong suit. He's not the fastest. But yeah, we look back at the Tampa series and he was just not there. He was losing a lot of puck battles. He was not really using his body advantage. He wasn't slowing down the game like I mentioned with the way that Shen does. So yeah, I honestly think that there's going to be some changes, especially with the way that Liljegren kind of played. There was a couple moments where he had some brain farts here and there. I actually thought that they were going to go back to a 11-7 for this game specifically. I thought
I,
the
I won't
addition
I
of
won't be
Gustafson would have been
surprised.
huge. Yeah, because
I
like
won't be surprised if they do it next game, especially with the you're playing an away game, so you don't have that matchup game
yeah.
to fall back on. Maybe to help Geo out or something like that. And Gustafson would have been nice to have, honestly, when we were down a goal.
Yeah.
And I think we should have played Liljegren more when we were down a goal. It was kind of weird that they were kind of going to that, McCabe Brody pairing again, which
Mhm.
I'm okay with, but when you're down, I want to cheat for offense, especially against this Florida team.
Yeah, especially with Brody and McCabe just not producing all like anything at
They're not
all
offensively minded
offensively.
guys. Like when McCabe had that puck in the third period and everyone was like, shoot, and then he didn't shoot. Like he doesn't have the offensive instincts for it, and he doesn't really have the shot for it. So I think everyone knew that wasn't gonna end up being a scoring chance. But
Yeah. There's
it's tough. It's tough because like analyzing a game like this because like honestly, I think the Leafs played better for 90% of it,
yeah.
and for the 10%, we shot ourselves in the foot. Like let's be real, it was mistakes that cost us pretty big, and the
Yeah.
Panthers converted. But this game, we could have won by 3. Like and I wouldn't have been surprised. Like I legitimately wouldn't have been surprised. Bob
Yeah.
stood on his head. We hit posts. We're not getting bounces, and for the life of us, we're making really dumb mistakes.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that third period because I think that even at the second half of that second period, I feel like we had so
Yeah,
many great chances,
we
but
were bad for 10 minutes.
it was literally
That's
10
it.
minutes. But that's what happens. It's a game of inches, right? And against a
Yeah.
team like the Panthers, who quite frankly beat Boston by just seizing their chances, right? They're a team that obviously you don't expect them to beat Boston 90% of the time, right? But every single play they're playing like their life depends on it.
Yeah,
They're
they're playing.
putting
Yeah,
a ton of effort out there and they got 2 goals like within what? Like
a minute.
a
It was like
minute
a
of
minute and
that
a
second period?
little over a minute. Yeah,
Yeah, the first
like
goal
but I
happened
think
19
yeah,
seconds into it and then the second goal 1 minute into it. Exactly,
yeah.
literally under a minute. And we're looking at the Leafs and we're like, what's going on? Right? They're down
Yeah.
3-2. You had such a fantastic period where you were just controlling and dominating, and in an instant, it's gone. right?
Let's talk about the second goal first, because
Okay.
that's something that I think Sammy needs to stop.
Mhm.
Like, needs to stop. That was a soft goal. That was a
Yeah,
really soft goal. It
that
was
was
on the
very soft.
outside, and it was a clean shot. Like, I don't know. For me, that's one that like bites you in the ass, especially when Bobrovsky has been so damn good this series. Like, he's turned into Vezina Bobrovsky, $10 million man, within the blink of an eye. Um, and he stood on his head. And Samsonov was excellent today. Still, like, that sliding save with Ekblad in the partial break in the first period was
Mhm.
amazing. Like, that was really good. I'm not gonna dog on Samsonov that much. That goal can't go in a playoff game. It just can't. But
That
at
was
the
the most
same time,
unfortunate part.
yeah, it sucks. But at the same time, that's another, like, it spawned from a mistake. Like, Nylander was carrying it.
Yeah, well,
Regardless of whether or not he got tripped up, he
that was
loses the
O'Reilly
puck.
got tripped up. So I that whole play was kind of weird in how it happened because
Yeah.
O'Reilly gets tripped by Barkov in the neutral zone. Nylander was
Yes. Yes.
expecting to pass it to O'Reilly, but he has to bore it once he sees O'Reilly on the ground, right? He's already off balance and he's stripped easily, right? Would you have wanted Nylander to play a little harder? Maybe not be in off position? Yeah, but like it's another situation where you can't really fault him, I want to say. It's just a situation where you don't expect it to happen and just things go the wrong way, right? What are you
Yeah.
going to do in that situation? But yeah, Sammy played well 90% of the game. I can't blame him on letting in one stupid goal, but that goal was probably his worst goal of the series. That
Yeah.
was
100%. And
ridiculously easy. No deflection, no deception, just a pure straight shot. And it really looked like the Panthers weren't even expecting it to go in. It looked like they were trying to hit it
yeah,
off him and look for a rebound, right? Or
I
get a
mean, I'll
line
give
change.
Barkov credit. It was a good shot in the sense that, like, from that angle, from that you know, direction, or sorry, distance, um, it was a well placed shot.
Yeah.
It still shouldn't go in. Like, we're talking about, like, outside of the hash marks, it still shouldn't go in.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that great of an angle. Like, you gotta have Samsonov's just gotta have that. Again, I'm not going to dog on Samsonov. He's been excellent for us in this playoffs. I don't think he deserves any sort of hate. He was excellent in this game. I still
100%.
think so. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think really outside of that goal there was much he could have done on the third goal. Like, that was, like, what are you supposed to do on a cross ice pass? And Forsling, like, just has all the time in the world to fire
Exactly.
that in. But it just sucks. It sucks when you lose by one and a bad goal goes in. You go back to Campbell in, like, game 7,
Yeah.
when he
Yeah.
let that, like, it just, no matter how well you play after that, you look back at that goal and you're like, why?
Yeah,
And it
that's why
cost us.
being a goaltender and just being hot is so important, right? But then you look at like that third goal for the Panthers, right? And you can't even blame him. Like, so it
Oh, no,
starts off
no
with the
chance.
turnover, right? As Bunton loses
Two
the puck behind
turnovers.
the
Yeah.
net, and there's literally three other Leafs in that area, and there was no effort or pressure to take control of the puck. It
When
eventually
Marner,
gets thrown out. Marner gets it, but he tries to pass to Matthews. Matthews also turns it
yeah,
over. And like, what do you do in this situation? Just turnover after turnover. The Leafs were winning the puck battles in the first period. They were forechecking hard, and now where did it go? They just all steam gone, right? Like, what
yeah,
happened to this team in the matter of like an intermission?
yeah, yeah. Like, the I'm okay with, like, losing puck battles in the D zone on occasion. Like, but once they got the puck, that's when I think, Keefe really should have reamed him out for this goal. Like, that was awful. The Marner drop pass, and then the Matthews, to be fair to him, didn't have a lot to work with. Like, the puck was kind of in the air and he tries to, like, bobble it.
Mhm.
That puck needs to get out of the zone.
Yeah,
Like, it
exactly.
comes back to the same thing that has plagued this team in playoffs before, including this specific playoffs, and it's just getting too cute with it to try and get the controlled exit. And Shen said it before the playoffs. Sometimes it's good to just get it off the glass and out of the zone. You can't be turning it over, especially against that Kachuk line. They
Mhm.
will make you pay for it, especially against Florida in general. Like, they have shooters. They are, I think, a top 3 team in goals for per game throughout the regular season,
Yeah,
and they
they're a
did it
tough
against the
cookie.
Bruins. Like, they did it against probably the best defensive team and the best goalie tandem in the league. Like, they will make you pay for your mistakes. Stop fucking getting cute with it. Like, stop doing these drop passes to try and get a controlled exit when you've just had like a 50-second shift in the defensive zone because you couldn't get the puck because their forecheck is so good. You got to get that puck out. And it's
so
tough
infuriating.
because Marner and Matthews probably make that play successfully like 9 out of 10 times getting out of the zone. And 9 out of 10 times, it's the correct play. But the 1 out of 10 times that you fuck it up and you fail it, and it ends up in the back of your net, and it's a 3-2 game, and that's the game winner.
Yeah.
Like, you got to understand that risk. And to me, that's a risky play for just at the wrong time with the wrong people on the ice against. And, it ends up in the back of your net. And what is Samsonov supposed to do there? He would have had to fucking tear his groin again to make that save. Like,
oh, geez, yeah. Let's not do that.
It was a perfect pass by Kachuk. Good finish by Forsling, and you're down, and it stays that way. And
yeah,
that was a minute in, and that came out a minute after we heard about the Knies shit too. It was like a minute of just bad news, and
yeah.
stupid.
Well, let's actually talk about Knies, right? So Knies, he gets hit by who was it? Sam Bennett, I believe, right?
Bennett, yeah, and
Bennett.
I have a bone to pick with Bennett.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it actually. Let us know. Tell us what happened in that play, and what are your thoughts on Bennett?
Bennett pulls a wrestling move and drives Knies' back of the head to the ice.
Yeah.
Like, it was stupid. It was dumb. And, like, I'm not going to say Bennett is a dirty player. I don't like using that word because sometimes things are unintentional, especially in the heat of the play. These type of wrestling matches happen a lot in the playoffs.
Wrestling matches specifically.
Yeah, and it doesn't get called because it doesn't get called. And Bennett obviously knows it's not going to get called. And that's why they do it. Like, it makes sense to do if the refs aren't going to call it, which is a whole other argument that we can talk about for an hour. Yeah. But it's tough because he's kind of grabbing him and he ties his legs up and he's the one who kind of like falls down and it looks intentional. Like, it looks very intentional that he falls down with him. It doesn't look like his feet were taken out. It doesn't look like it was like a tied up thing and they both fall down together. It really looks like he like just wrestling moves. Like, I don't even know what it's called, but yeah, it was bad. And
take him out.
Rock bottom. That was it. Yeah,
it was weird because you look at it. I can understand like their legs getting tied up, them maybe falling down together, but I don't understand why he had to reach over, grab his head for support,
hold his head,
and just go bam straight on the ice.
Like, I'm not even gonna say it's intentional. I'm willing to give Bennett the benefit of the doubt here, and say it's just an unfortunate play.
Exactly. It's just,
and it would suck. It would suck. And well, it does suck. Knies didn't return after that. Well, he returned for a shift, which was kind of weird. And I guess they took him out.
They took him out
Maybe
right
they did
away.
some testing.
And they said, hey, we're taking him out for the rest of the game. He didn't return afterwards.
Yeah, he didn't return at the start of the second. And then the game went to shit. But Knies is a really important piece for us. Not having him in and having to do like, what's it called? An 11-6.
Yeah.
Isn't ideal. And that could have even played a factor. Knies is he's a factor, he's an impact player. So not having him for the rest of the game definitely affected us. But the thing that pissed me off more about Bennett, and we'll get to this later on, is the bunting cross-check.
Yeah,
because
we'll talk about that.
There is no way you're telling me that's not intentional. Like, maybe the first one to the neck, not intentional. Whatever. I'm even willing to give him the benefit of the doubt there and say it was just in the midst of it. Matthews went high on Dahlin that one time. It was obviously not intentional. Sometimes shit happens. But he cross-checks him in the neck.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
Part. Yeah.
He goes down and then bunting cross-checks him straight in the spine. That is intentional. That deserves like supplementary discipline. I don't give a shit if it's even just a fine. That needs to get looked at. Like, if there's no hearing for that, if there's nothing, like, that's ridiculous. It reminds me of when Bortuzzo went at Arvidsson 4 times when he like broke his fucking spine. You don't do that shit.
Yeah. And then
you don't do that. Even if you think he's fucking faking, even if you think he is diving, why take that chance where if he isn't, you actually do damage to his goddamn like spine? Like, you cross-checked him in the neck.
Yeah.
That's
that was
horseshit.
egregious.
That
It
is
was really
horseshit.
bad. And
And he took 2 minutes.
I
2
think
minutes
I
out
think
of those two
he
plays.
had that first cross check and then realized, hey, I'm gonna be thrown in the box anyways. Might as well do some damage, which is a
It's bullshit.
horrible mentality to have. And I love how in the last game you saw Paul Maurice putting up the 5-1 after the penalty. Like you deserve every single one of the
The
penalties that you
Panthers
got.
are
It was
the Panthers
ridiculous.
deserved more penalties.
Yeah,
Like it blows my mind how many infractions they do. Like, and you know what? Credit to them. It's a good game plan because you know the refs are only going to call a certain amount of them. So once you get those, like once they had those two and they killed them off or whatever, or not all of them, but it was free for all. They committed like 14 infractions until the bunting play, and then the refs literally had no choice because someone cross-checked someone in the neck and had to make a call. Like,
and then
yeah.
because Bunton got taken out or suspended in the first series, he's a little bit skittish, right? He's not talking a lot from the bench.
Oh yeah, no, he's playing it safe.
He's being really smart with it. Yeah, so it's another one of those situations where let's say the reps weren't on Bunton's ass. Could he be more of a pest? Could he be more of that instigator? Maybe, right? Especially when the reps are not calling anything. But that's neither here nor there. The
And
Leafs,
I want to be clear
yeah, go
that
ahead.
I'm not even making excuses for the Leafs. Like that didn't result in the Leafs losing. The Leafs lost because they lost. They
Exactly.
made
That's what I
mistakes
wanna get
in
back to.
Florida. Absolutely punished every single mistake. Credit to Florida there.
Yeah.
This is not even a conversation about like making excuses.
Mhm.
It's just a conversation about what the fuck was like Bennett doing there. Like it's horse shit. That's horse shit. That's dirty.
Yeah,
That
it was
play,
very
that
dirty.
second cross check is dirty. That is a dirty hockey play.
Mhm,
I'm not
mhm.
gonna fucking like that's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, we'll see
Uh,
if there's anything else that's gonna come out of it. Maybe they'll review it and they'll see and
I
what's
doubt
going
it.
on with it. I doubt it too. But yeah, let's get back into the game, right? Because stuff like this is gonna happen. We can't spend too long on
Yeah.
ref talk, right? The Leafs came back and they really, really controlled the second half of the period and the third, right? And a big proponent of that was that second line. I honestly loved seeing Kerfoot out there with Tavares and Nylander. I thought they were the best night tonight, best line tonight, and
Nylander
they
was
had
flying, man.
so many chances, and a lot of
Yeah.
them were off of Kerfoot forechecking hard. This is the guy that we dogged on, saying that he shouldn't be anywhere close to the top six. Um, and look at what opportunities he made tonight. I thought he was a fantastic addition right now, or to that second line, and he really showed up and played well in the absence of Matthew Nyes, right? Um, they had so many opportunities. Nylander, a guy who's kind of been a little snake bitten. He pings like what 2-3 off the post tonight. Tavares, another guy who was playing hard, had a couple great chances and just couldn't find the back of the net, right?
Yeah.
They did
Yeah.
everything right. Like that second line did everything that they could. It's
Yeah,
just
they did everything
go to
but
the back of the
score,
net.
really. And
Exactly. What do
it
you say
like
to that though? It's such a hard situation. Like ask Keith, what do you tell your guys?
yeah.
You did everything right except for score. This is
But
the
this is
same
what
thing as game one, where the power plays they controlled everything and they just couldn't hit the back of the net. Right? They
and the
couldn't get
thing
it
is
past
that
Bobrovsky.
this is what iced us in so many previous playoff series in previous years. And it's
Mhm.
the inability to finish in a playoff series. I don't know what it is. Like I genuinely don't know what it is. When we had that Columbus series in Corpusalo, like absolutely destroyed us. We had like a 2% shooting percentage. It's tough to know what to say. I don't know if it's just a matter of making it tougher on Bobrovsky. We clearly did it against Vazzy, you know, last series, but Bobrovsky's figured us out. We haven't figured Bobrovsky out, I should say. Like
Mhm.
like he doesn't have a weakness. You know, in the previous series we knew Vazzy, you know, point shots with a ton of traffic worked on Vazzy. We scored plenty of goals like that. I have not seen anything from Bobrovsky yet. There's no point of weakness that I think we have exposed. And
Mhm.
it's insane because Bobrovsky hasn't even been that good in the past 2 years, at least in the
Yeah.
regular season. He's really
After
turned
signing
it
that
on,
big contract. Yeah.
and credit to him and credit to the Panthers. They've done a very good job of, you know, uh, capitalizing on every chance they get, and Bobrovsky has done a great job of stopping pretty much every chance that he can. Um,
Mhm.
it's tough because like, yeah, you know, we hit 3 posts Bobrovsky, makes a few really, really great saves. We missed the net by like an inch on a couple of them. That's the way it goes, though. We benefited from that from in the Tampa series. We got outplayed 3 games out of the Tampa series.
Yeah.
3 of those went to OT, and we won those by
Mhm.
a matter of a lucky bounce or something like that. Sometimes you got to find ways to win, and sometimes you find ways to lose. And for the past 2 games, we've found ways to lose. You
Mhm.
know, and that's the difference between this series and last series. We've played better in this series than we played in the last series.
Yeah, yeah. And you
Like,
see us down 2-0, right? You start the
yeah,
series off 2-0. You're going to Tampa, or you're going to, sorry, to Florida. It's not going to be easy down there. And this is a huge, huge shot in the foot for the Leafs for this round, right? When you're going down 2-0, like it's tough to come back, right? That first game,
yeah. I
that
mean,
first loss, we kind of give them a gimme because of how well they played. And honestly, I came into the second game like, hey, there's not a lot of stress. I thought the Leafs were going to control it, win it, dominate, and just
and it looked
write
good for
off that
20
game one.
minutes.
Exactly, write off. But eh, 10, 20 minutes of bad play, and this is what happens, right? It's a game of
Yeah,
inches, and the Leafs just were on the wrong foot of it this time, right?
yeah. And saying it's a long series only works for like the first game because it becomes a short series very quickly. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they need 2 more wins to win this game,
We
to win the
need
series.
4 out of our next
Ridiculous, it's
6,
hard.
I think.
Yeah.
4 out of our next 5 to win it because there's only 5 games left.
Mhm.
That's gonna be tough. That's that's tough. We're going to Florida, so we've lost home ice advantage as well, and we're down 0-2. Obviously, it's not ideal, but a, a little bit of optimism. The Devils were down 0-2 against the Rangers, also at home, and they ended up taking 3 straight and then winning in 7.
Wasn't
Um,
Florida also 3-1 in the series, and they
Down
came
3-1
back
as
to
well.
win?
Yeah, it's
This is
not
their
over.
5th game in a row then? They won 3 games in
Yeah,
a row
5
against
wins in a row.
Boston,
Yeah,
and
5
then
wins in a
2.
row for Florida, and that's a
Yeah,
franchise record, by the way. Um,
crazy.
yeah, they've been excellent. Like, full credit to the Panthers. Like, full credit to the Panthers. They are an excellent team to watch as well. They're very fun. So, like, just hats off to them. But at the same time, it's the Leafs also shooting themselves in the foot. Like, credit
Yeah.
to the Panthers, Leafs are making mistakes.
Mhm.
If they manage the puck better, they can win games. Like that's what I've seen these past 2 games. Both of it, like, we could have been going into Florida with a 2-0 win or 2-0 series lead
Mhm.
if they just managed the puck at certain times better. And that's something that obviously they need to adapt to. I'm not saying they're going to do it, but if they can pull it off, this series is far from over. And I know that's probably not what people are thinking right now. I see a lot of Panthers sweeping comments. And you know how Leaf fans are. Like, after the third goal went in for Florida, I just went on Twitter and I was like, okay, I'm getting off because everyone is like,
Yeah,
just
it was a
burn
shit
this
show.
team down. Yeah, and I understand it. I understand it. But yeah, it's the way it
So
goes
as
sometimes.
Keith then, what do you do in this situation? I think the easiest thing is to just go 11-7, right? Just go full 7-11 slushy, like have some fun with it.
The
But
thing
other
is,
than that, is that really going to make a difference? I feel like this is more of a mentality than anything else, right?
well, it's tough to say it's a mentality thing because I'm not going to sit here and say the Leafs didn't try. Like, they were playing physical, they were working for the pucks,
Yeah.
they dominated large portions of this game. It's a mentality thing in the sense that they made big ass mistakes in the defensive end that ended up in their back of the net,
Hmm.
and they're just going to need to pick themselves up and you know find ways to win. That's it.
Hmm.
But the thing is, like, Nyes is probably out.
Yeah,
Like, we don't
that's
have
a
him
big
as a
loss.
forward anymore, and that's a huge loss. And do we go 11-7? Probably. Like, I don't see why we wouldn't at this point.
Hmm.
Losing an impact player like Nyes, it sort of makes sense to go 11-7 in the next game and see how that works out. But um,
Do you
it's
think there's any bigger roster changes that need to be made though? Like, for example, are we going to take out Lily or Geo
I don't
for
think you
Hall
take out
again,
Liljegren.
or do you do you just run it back completely and just put in Gustafson in there and hope
I
to
think you just put
hope it gets better?
Gustafson in there personally.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's Like, it's tough. It's tough because, like, again, like, I don't think they played badly in either game. They just found ways to lose. And that costs so much in the playoffs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a big deal when you're only in a 7-game series to lose 2 games.
Yeah,
Like, Tampa knows
exactly.
that very well. They lost 3 in OT. In the
Yep.
regular season, they'd probably, like, just be like, okay, just brush it off. It doesn't matter. We played well. That's the process. In the playoffs, you can't do that. Like, results matter.
Mhm. Yeah, it's such a difficult situation. Like, what do you really say? What do you do? What do you change? Right?
You just need them to score. You need them to finish. You just like that, and that's on the stars.
Is that on the
You know,
stars? Hmm.
that's on the stars. Like, that's what they're here to do. They need to just find a way. I don't know what to tell them.
Yeah.
It's the playoffs. You got to find a way. That's it. Like, your guys are good process. You're generating chances. Finish them. That's it. Like, that's all you can say. What else are you supposed to do? Like, be a star. Like, we know you have it in you to, like, Matthews could have scored like 3 times on Bobrovsky tonight.
Yeah.
You just the finishing touch wasn't there. He was in prime spots that Matthews scores from all the time. The finishing touch wasn't there. And it is what it is. Just want to shout out Mahura. Hopefully he's okay. He took a
Yes.
puck to the face. That was really scary.
That was
Like,
he was bleeding
really
a lot.
scary.
Yeah.
Bleeding a ton, and so obviously wish good things for him. I think he came back actually. He missed 1 shift and then he came back, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is surprising.
I mean, hockey players are tough. If there's one thing, they're tough.
I know, but come
like,
on, like concussion protocol. Like, take a look at this guy.
I mean,
Like,
I'm
it's fine.
sure they tested him.
Yeah.
I have faith in their. Hopefully they made sure everything was okay. But yeah, like, I'm
Yeah.
glad he's back. I'm glad he came back. Obviously it's a scary scene. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I actually, when I saw that happen, I thought it actually hit him off the helmet,
I
but
thought
no,
we
it was
scored
straight on the face.
because Tavares put his hands
Tavares put
up,
his
and
hands
I
up.
think
Yeah.
what he saw was the puck hitting the back of the net. So he saw the ruffling of the net.
Yeah.
Is what
Because
I'm assuming he saw.
what happened was that it hit his face, I guess,
His face,
and
yeah.
then bounced back on the outside of the net, and so
Yeah, and
that's kind of
I
what
like
caused
screamed
it.
and put my hands up, and then like the play stopped, and I was like, wait, what happened? And then there was just like a pool of blood, and it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
so yeah,
Scary
he's
moments.
a tough guy. Yeah.
I love it in the chat. There's a lot of people going off about how we should pull Samsonov and put Murray in there.
No.
I don't
Murray.
even
Murray.
exactly.
No.
Even if you're trying to pull Samsonov, Wall is taking the start.
Yeah, no,
Murray is not
Murray.
getting
No, absolutely
Murray is
not.
not getting anywhere near that net unless
Can't
the Leafs
throw
have
Murray
a total
in.
collapse. Yeah,
You can't throw Murray in because it's not even putting him in his position to succeed. Like, it puts no
exactly.
one in a good position because he's coming in after like 3 weeks of not playing NHL hockey.
And also, when he left, he wasn't
an
playing good
injury.
NHL hockey either.
Yeah, like, it
right?
makes no sense.
Wall
It
is
makes
the
no
guy
sense.
if you do want to pull Samsonov, which I don't think you even try to do.
Yeah, no, I
Don't even.
you
try
don't do
it.
that unless you go down like 3-0 and Samsonov
Yeah,
has
this
a
is
horrible
not
game 3.
Samsonov's problem, guys. He's
Another
well.
another point of optimism. I'm a little more optimistic than most Leaf fans, I would say. So I'll choose to go for those positive moments. But the Leafs have not lost 3 in a row since like October. Now, with that being said, Boston had only lost 3 in a row one time in the season, then they lost 3 in a row to the Panthers.
Yeah, how
So
many losses do they have in a regular season? Like,
they had like 12.
Yeah.
But I will say, I have seen the Leafs bounce back well after losses throughout the entire season. And I understand that means absolutely nothing. The regular season means jack shit.
Mhm.
But it was a nice trend to see. I do have confidence in this team. And that might not be what Leaf fans want to hear. But I said Leafs in 6, and I'm standing by. We're winning 4 in a row, baby.
You're gonna go back and win 4 in a row. Yeah, no,
Yeah, 4 in a row.
honestly, I also had the Leafs in 6. I was
I mean, a
actually
lot of people
leaning
did.
towards. I actually was leaning towards 5, but then I changed it to 6
No,
after seeing
the
like the
Panthers
last
are
series.
too good. Like,
Yeah.
the Panthers are too good. I think a lot of Leaf fans really underestimated them.
Yeah.
And it's purely because they kind of like squeaked into the playoffs, but they've been hot for a really long time.
Exactly.
They had a pretty poor start to the year, but like, you go back to the Blues winning in 2019. If you're the hot team going in, you're the hot team going in. And
Exactly.
it really doesn't matter how your season was in November. like
and
that's so far removed,
beating
you
like the
know?
best team on paper, like of all time, basically in a series, that's gonna bring you a lot of confidence in your boys, right? You're gonna ride that high into that the second series. But yeah, like you said, the Leafs, I I really can't uh I don't see a world where the Leafs are gonna lose to the Panthers. If you
In
actually look at
4.
it, yeah, in four on a sweep, obviously. But even like in the series itself, right?
I mean, it's
I
tough when you're
think
down
that they're
2-0 though.
yeah, I
Yeah.
understand that they're down 2-0, but like the way that they're playing is different from the teams or the losses that we've seen in previous years, right?
Yeah.
They really are controlling the play and just absolutely dominating the Panthers through the majority of the game. It's just a few slip ups here and there, which is tough because it's really hard to stay focused on something like the majority of the game without seeing any slip ups or mistakes. And now where you're in a point where you're already down 2 games in the series, you have no room for error at
Yeah.
all, right?
100%. They have to be perfect from here on
I
out.
I think you actually have to enter like Florida and you have to win both those games. Like it's
Yeah, I think so too. I
even
think
if
you
you
need
split
to.
it, that's
It's
not
going
a
to be
fun
tough.
time. You
And
got to win
you know,
both.
the thing is the Panthers, you know, full credit to them again. They play hard every single shift. There is
Yeah.
never a shift I've seen them take off. And I watched the entire Bruins series. Like even when they were losing, they were working their butts off. You know, they were getting outplayed by the Bruins, but they were still working their butts off.
Uh-huh.
And that's super like great to see for their fans. It sucks for us because you know like you can't like it's going to be hard to get them on their heels. You know what I mean? Like with the like when they started beating the Bruins, there was a mental draw against the Bruins where it was like you have something to lose. You know what I mean? And the Panthers played like they've played this entire playoffs like they've never had anything to lose, and to just put it out all on the line. You're not going to get embarrassed if you lose. Like that was the thing. Like you're not scared. They were never scared.
Yeah.
And that's something that kind of like scares me because it's like I know they're going to no matter if they were down, if they were up 3-1 and then you like caught up and forced a game 7, they're not going to wilt. You know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
they play hard, and that's credit to them. Jonathan Bloom has a great comment of optimism as well. Capitals went down 2-0 at home against the Columbus Blue Jackets in 2018. They won 4 in a row and went on to win the cup. It
There
is
you go.
not a death sentence, but
Mhm.
it is a hole you kind of have to get out of.
Exactly. I think that's the biggest thing. And one funny thing, I mean, we talked about Sammy's stats at home and away, right?
Yeah,
At
he's
home in the
sucked
regular
at home.
season, he was like 0.927.
Yeah,
Away, he was 909 in the regular season. And now in the playoffs, he's won like 3 games away. He's like
yeah.
only one at home. So that's another guy where who knows, maybe the reverse happened. Now he's gonna win all of them away, right?
And the other thing is, like, we would be talking a very different game if this was the first round and we went down 2-0 in the first round.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for Leaf fans, and this is just something I've noticed myself, there is a huge weight lifted from that first round win. Like, just as a fan, like, I'm not even saying for the team, as a fan, I feel like a lot less stressed out, if that makes sense. And
Mhm.
I know, like, obviously that's not the goal. The goal is to win the cup, and anything less is a disappointment.
Yeah.
But it's kind of wild because I was thinking to myself, like, how the hell would I do a game over in the first round if we went down 2-0?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? That would have been a tough one. Like that would have been a really tough one. So, you know, I just find it funny. Like I'm a little more optimistic than I would be usually. Um,
Yeah, like
I still think they could do it.
yeah,
I've got
I think
faith.
it's definitely possible. They just really gotta go at it and work towards it. Um, yeah, I mean, what else is there to say, right? They just have to play better
And the other
in
thing
the
is they got
next
to
couple of games.
control pace. Like, you know, with the
Yeah.
way the game has gone the past
Uh-huh.
couple we did, like this happened in the Tampa series as well in that they dictated play. And that's they dictated the pace of the game like Tampa
Yeah.
did.
Mhm.
And Florida's dictating the pace of this game. The reason we're seeing such a different series compared to Tampa is because we're letting the other team dictate the flow. Like, you know, they're playing fast and we're adapting to that. We're not slowing it down to our speed, you know, and we're sort of playing a little loosey goosey sometimes, and it's resulting in turnovers that, you know, Florida is feeding into. Like, Florida's making you play that way. And I want to see them control a little bit of that play and dictate the way they want the game to go rather than reacting to the way Florida is playing, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was actually funny because in my notes, right after that first period, what I wrote down was I thought the Leafs did a really good job of controlling the play in that first period specifically, right? Because we saw guys like Achari and Riley laying some big hits as the Panthers were trying to get out of the neutral zone and into the Leaf zone, and I thought that that really helped slow it down. And they you saw it right at one point it was like I think it was like 12 shots on goal versus 3 before Florida got their first goal, right? And it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
because there was so many big hits where guys were just really nailing the Panthers as
Dude,
soon as they had
yeah,
anything
Riley
trying to get going.
demolished Duclair on that
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
hit. Like that was beautiful.
But
Riley's
that's
really stepped
ways
up
that
his physical play. Yeah.
that's ways that you slow down the play, right?
Yeah.
Especially especially going against against the Panthers who are high octane, high speed. We had to play really aggressive and just uh controlling, I guess, hockey against Tampa, just really aggressive style, right? You could
Yeah.
kind of implement that same strategy into this Tampa or into this Panther series, right?
Yeah.
Lay some big
Credit to
hits, make them play the way that you want to play, right?
yeah.
The problem is they didn't do that through and through, right? The entire series.
Yeah, and honestly, credit to Florida as well. They do a good job of breaking our structure down just with the crazy forecheck that they have. But there is like, when you're looking at Florida and a team like that and the way they're built, there are things to expose. And the Leafs have done a decent job of exposing those parts and generating those chances that Florida allows because they play such an aggressive game. Again,
Mhm.
it's just a matter of Bob standing on his head and we're not finishing correctly. We're missing the net, whatever it may be. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're gripping their sticks too tight. I have no idea. To me, they're getting good shots off, and they're hitting the post, they're not getting the bounce, and Bob is really doing a good job.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
is that going to change? Who knows? Who knows? But you take it one game at a time. So, like, game 3, they just need to pull out a win.
Yeah, game 3, which is gonna be on Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah,
I
and
don't
that's the
know
other thing.
what's going on with that
Huge
planning,
break.
but yeah.
Huge break, which honestly can serve the Leafs some good because they can sort of regroup, calm down, take it one day at a time type of thing. It's not
Yeah.
going to be just like a back to back because game 3 happens on Sunday and then the next game I think is Wednesday. So they have another 2-day break.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
there's a large period of time where you can adapt, you can play around, you can know what's going on with Nyes ahead of time of game 3. You can play with your practice with your lines and really get set and come out strong because they really need to. Like
Mhm.
this is this next game is the most important game they've played this season, like
Yeah.
from now on. Like,
Mhm.
and every game after that will be the most important game they play of the season. So treat every game as if it's a must win game. Like, game 3 is absolutely a must win because you cannot go down 3-0.
Exactly, exactly. One quick thing that I did wanna mention, we're raising money for the Alphabet Sports Collective throughout the playoffs. The Alphabet Sports Collective creates a safe and inclusive environment in hockey for folks of all sexual identities and gender expressions through education, community building, and mobilization. You can donate to the Alphabet Sports Collective. You can see a link that's going to be posted in the comments. So take a look if you have some spare change. Be sure to donate. It's a great cause, and we love that they partnered with us. Um, but yeah, bringing it back to the Leafs, yeah, it's going to be a tough series. It's going to be a tough hole that they're going to have to dig themselves out of. But yeah, they got some time. We'll see how game 3 goes. It's a must-win game, in my opinion. Uh, you gotta get something going, guys. Get
Yeah.
something going. Get a win. Let's get on the right foot of this because a 2-game stall is not fun. Did you have something to
One more
say
thing.
real quick?
Yeah, a quote
Go
came
ahead.
out today. Keefe says the Bennett cross check on Bunting was eerily similar to the one Austin Matthews got suspended 2 games for during the outdoor game. So a little bit of needling the Department of Player Safety there, but
There you
we'll see
go.
if it
There you go.
works. We'll see if it works.
Yeah, I mean, if you're keep throwing stuff at the wall, see what sticks, right? Especially after the
And yeah,
Bunting.
no
Uh,
update on Nyes.
yeah. I don't think
Says
we're gonna hear
the
much now. It's good that we have a couple days for him to heal up.
yeah.
I'm hoping that's just preventative and maybe he's okay, but we'll see.
A great comment from Ilya Samsonov. Ilya Samsonov says he doesn't give a fuck that Bobrovsky is playing well. That is
I wonder what the
nice
question was for
language.
that. I wonder what the
Yeah,
question
good mentality to
asked
have.
for
It
that.
doesn't matter what's going on at the other end. You got to focus on yourself. So
Yeah. And he's gonna be kicking himself after that second goal. So there's a
yeah,
lot that the Leafs can look forward to. There's a lot that they need to fix up. And sorry, they need to fix up before and look forward to fixing for that third game or before that third game of the series. Must win. A game that they have to win and they have to take control of the series. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be on Sunday. I believe it's going to be myself and Lauren hosting that game, so that's going to be fun. Lauren's had a pretty good track record with these games.
this is
I think
my
this
first
is your
loss.
first loss. Yeah, this
This
is
is
your
my first
loss.
loss this playoffs, and I only had one loss in the last year's playoffs, and it was Game 7. It was brutal.
I think this is my second.
I've been really
You've been killing
lucky.
it. Yeah, well, we'll see how the third game goes. That's gonna do it here from us. Thank you guys for watching. Again, I know you guys are down, but look at the positives. The Leafs did a lot of things right. So there's hope going into game 3.
Now it's just a matter of converting, baby.
Exactly.
We're gonna do it. I believe. I
Yep.
believe.
Well, that's going to do it here from us. My name is Harnish. You can find me Harnish_Patel98 on Twitter. And I'm joined by Armaan.
My
Show
name's
yourself
Armaan,
out.
and you can control me at Armaan Panthaki on Twitter.
That's going to do it here from us. Good night, everyone. Enjoy your time off. You have a couple days.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.